welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Anna and today I'm going to show you how to make the perfect sweet potato casserole. The sweet potato casserole is really nice and fluffy. It's not too overly sweet. It has the right amount of crunch. It has some marshmallows on top, and let me tell you, once you try this recipe, you won't want to make any other recipe again because it's really that delicious. You're going to need some sweet potatoes. As you can see, I have some small sweet potatoes. You can also use some big sweet potatoes. I actually have two big ones, a little bit of half and half. I prefer half and half over milk or mashed potatoes and sweet potatoes because it makes it creamier. Remember, half and half is just equal parts milk and heavy cream. You're gonna need brown sugar, a little bit of flour, and that's gonna be for the topping that we're gonna make. You're also going to need some pecans, marshmallows, 2 eggs, so more brown sugar for the actual sweet potato mash, a little bit of salt, vanilla extract. You're going to need some butter, which I have in the fridge because I want to have that cold. So that way when I mix it with the mashed sweet potatoes, it kind of helps it cool down a little bit before we add the eggs. Last but not least, you're going to need a little bit of cinnamon. Trust me, you really won't taste the cinnamon, but it brings out the most beautiful sweet potato flavor ever. And like I said, this is not like a dessert. Obviously, if you usually serve this as a dessert, maybe add a little more cinnamon, but I think just like this is like an 1/8 teaspoon of cinnamon, and I can tell you, you really won't taste it. First things first, I have my oven preheating to 425 degrees Fahrenheit because we're going to roast sweet potatoes. Hear me out. You can boil your potatoes because of course you can, but nothing beats roasting sweet potato for your sweet potato casserole. If you boil your potatoes and when you make sweet potato casserole, you find that your potatoes are kind of like runny and a little watery, they don't really have much taste, that's the reason why. When you're making sweet potato casserole, please roast your sweet potatoes. The flavors intensify and it's just absolutely delicious. So I take the extra, 10 minutes instead of boiling your potatoes to roast your potatoes, and I'm telling you, the flavor is gonna be there, it's gonna be amazing. And that is the reason I really prefer using like smaller sweet potatoes because they roast a lot faster, since obviously they're smaller than big sweet potatoes. But I mean, I had a mix of both, so I'm gonna use both. I did scrub my potatoes, I cleaned them, and now all I'm gonna do, I have an 8x8 baking dish here, and this is where I'm gonna do the actual casserole. And I also have a baking sheet lined with some parchment paper. You can line it with some foil. I'm just going to, with a fork, prick my potatoes all over, and I'm going to put it on my baking sheet. This looks pretty good. Last one. Now, I don't really do anything else to my sweet potatoes. I don't add any more oil. I don't add any salt. I don't add anything because we are going to peel them and obviously take out the flesh and mash it. So I don't find the need to do anything like that. Once my sweet potatoes are all done, we're gonna come back here so I can show you the next step. My sweet potatoes came out of the oven about 10 minutes ago. You do want to let them obviously cool down before you peel them. Even so, it's gonna be a bit hot. The little ones baked for about 30 minutes and then the big ones baked for about 50 minutes. I'm going to start peeling the potatoes. Shouldn't be that hard. The only thing is that they're really hot, so obviously you wouldn't want to burn yourself. Let me use help from my fork here. Let me see. Perfect. You also want to bring your oven temperature down from 425 to 350. Okay, so I'm just gonna continue this peeling process and then I'll meet you back here once I'm all done. Okay, so I've managed to peel everything without absolutely burning my hands, so that's a plus for me. I'm going to mash the sweet potatoes just a little bit before we add the rest of the ingredients. Look at the beautiful color the sweet potato has. Bright orange. So this is mostly mashed. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my cold butter. So I add butter, my room temperature half and half. This is looking pretty good. I'm going to set this aside for just a second while this cools down for a little bit more. we are going to make our streusel topping. Here I have a little bit of brown sugar, a little bit of flour. I have some diced cold butter, and I'm going to add this right in here. And now with a fork, I'm going to break down the butter. It takes a little bit longer with a fork, so if you have one of these, forget the name now. This is a cutter, a something cutter. I can't remember for the life of me. You can also even do it with your hands. You just want to break up the butter a little bit more, but you don't want to touch the butter too much because you still want it to be cold. So that's why I kind of like to do it either with a fork or one of these. Oh, pastry cutter. That's what they're called. So if you have this type of little pastry cutter situation, cut the butter until the butter kind of resembles small pieces, as if you were making pie. So you want something kind of like that, so you can see. I'm going to put this back in the fridge for a couple of minutes or until our filling is done. The potatoes feel a bit cooler, so I'm gonna go ahead with my potato masher and just kind of go over it again, because I don't like big chunks in mine, so I want to make sure that everything is as mashed as they possibly can. Okay, this definitely looks perfect. Now we add our eggs. With the same fork, we simply just mix everything in. We add our pinch of cinnamon, some salt, generous amount of salt, because the salt brings out the sweetness. And our potatoes, I don't really like to add any pepper, but if you like to add pepper, add a little bit of pepper, and then a tiny splash of vanilla extract. You want to mix everything together, and we change to my rubber spatula here. Okay, everything's mixed in. This looks beautiful. I have my baking dish here. I did butter, that way nothing really sticks as it bakes. Okay, I want to add this all in here, just like so. Oh, it smells so yummy. This is actually my sister's, well, one of my sister's favorite Thanksgiving side dish. So I've been thinking about her the whole time as I'm making this, because I know she loves sweet potato casserole. Okay, I just like to even it out a little bit, right? So something like this. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I do want it even. I got my streusel topping here. I'm going to add my pecans right in there. Just gonna mix it, and I'm gonna top it with it. I like generous amount of streusel topping because I love how just like kind of crispy it gets. That's why I'm telling you, this is the perfect sweet potato casserole. I'm gonna pop this into my oven for about 30-35 minutes. I'm gonna take it out, add the marshmallows, bake it until the marshmallows are nice and puffy and golden brown. That's gonna take about 5 to 10 extra minutes. In total, about 40 minutes at 350. The sweet potatoes out of the oven, and it smells wonderful. It smells so sweet. I'm a little disappointed at this marshmallows. I just have to put it out there. I got these marshmallows at Trader Joe's, and they do not brown as good as the regular marshmallows. I'm a little disappointed with them. They just get really puffy, but they don't brown. So I got my handy dandy kitchen torch here. I'm gonna try to brown them a little bit. Okay, now this is a bit more like it. I do like my toasted marshmallows, and I would not let anyone deprive me of that. This is looking exactly as it should now. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this little bit right here in the corner. Look at that. Do you see that? Tell me that isn't the most absolute perfection. Toasted marshmallows, then crispy streusel topping, and then creamy, buttery sweet potatoes. Lord have mercy. because I'm gonna devour this. This literally came out of the oven like 5 minutes ago, so give me a second because I might burn my whole face. Wow. I think the marshmallows and the pecans, probably my favorite part. Okay. Right on the money. Right on the money. The filling itself is not too overly sweet. I used 3 pounds of sweet potato and 3/4 of a cup of sugar, which is not a lot at all because the marshmallows are already sweet and then the streusel topping is already sweet. So you really don't need to add that much sugar. Otherwise it's like a pie, which like I said, I serve this as a side dish. So I don't want it to be like a pie. I want it to be like a side dish. And this to me is absolute perfection. So yummy. Get the recipe on my website, anitasdelightsrecipes.com. The link is in the description box. Make it this Thanksgiving, and I promise you, you will never, ever, ever make another sweet potato casserole ever again. That's all for today. I hope to see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on your notification, and share it with your family and friends so they can make it this Thanksgiving and love it as much as we do. I'm gonna continue eating, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.